Hi, my loves. This is Isabella Sanfilippo coming at you from WCHS Wall Township, and you're listening to the I Love You podcast. To thine own self be true. Yes, my Hamlet essay is due Monday. No, this is not my Hamlet essay. This episode is all about staying true to yourself, as Polonius once told a very bored Laertes. So, we hear this expression a lot, like be yourself, but I'm going to try to break it down today in a lot of different parts. Before you can even be true to yourself, just to start, you have to know who you are. And that is so easily said. I just said it, but that is so incredibly hard to do. Because do any of us really know who we are? And I feel like just in general, we are different versions of ourselves a lot. I think that whenever we hang out with certain people, we either have to tone down our personalities or maybe give a little bit more energy or be just a different version of ourselves. And though all of those versions are still us, we have to understand who we are as a collective of all of those people and all of the different roles you have to fill within your relationships. So I think that before you can be true to yourself, obviously you have to know yourself. And that, again, is something that's really hard. And it's going to take a lot of self-reflection and a lot of just thought, I think. But something that's kind of just helped me not discover who I am as a person. That sounds like so cliche. But I really like to journal. I have a gratitude journal, and as a person, I am a mix of all of my crash outs, all of my happiest moments, all of my morals, all of my beliefs, the things that my parents have instilled in me since I was a kid. I am a Christian. I understand who I am because I am that person all of the time. So I think that finding out who you are becomes even harder when you're not yourself. And the only way you are able to find yourself is by just being more authentic, being more you. And I've let go of my filter completely. So I really now just say kind of whatever comes to mind and whatever I want. And I think that I've become better because of it. I think that I've made more connections because of that. I joined a new club field hockey team this year. And one of my closest friends on the team, we were just sitting outside because I think it was a tryout for indoor. We were just sitting outside because it was cold, it was hot in there, whatever. The air conditioning wasn't working that day. So we just went outside and we sat on the pavement, and it was dark outside. And I just straight up was like, I just told her something really personal out of absolutely nowhere. And then she was like, she just looked at me for a second. And I was like kind of scared. I was like, oh no, like I definitely just messed this whole thing up. But then she was like, no, yeah, me too. And it was just kind of that like, wow, like when I was myself and when I just shared something that was just like a crazy situation I was in or something like that. And I found someone else who was going through a similar situation. We were able to make that connection because in that moment I was truly, fully, authentically myself. And I just let it all out there. So I just really think that when we are ourselves too, we're able to make those genuine connections, and we're able to surround ourselves with the people who let us be ourselves. And that was kind of a lot to unpack. So I guess I'll summarize before going into the next block of staying true to yourself. So in order to stay true to yourself, you have to find your true self. And finding your true self is something that's hard on its own, but it becomes really harder when you don't act like your true self. And that can happen because of the people that you're surrounding yourself with, because we are so many different versions of ourselves around so many different people. So when you're able to find someone who lets you be that version of yourself, the version that you want to be, it really does make a difference, and it really does allow you to make connections and to find yourself. And I do also think things like journaling really helps, and because I think that as people, we're kind of a collective of our thoughts and our emotions and our morals. When we write them down, it's almost kind of like we're making the thoughts permanent. We're putting them on paper. Now there's something that's tangible. And now we're something that's tangible. Like the thought of who you want to be, that's something that's not tangible. But actually physically writing it down, now it becomes true. It becomes a manifestation. So I think that, at least for me, journaling really helps me, especially when I'm feeling really hectic and, I don't know, having brain farts. I don't know. That was a brain fart, but I really do think that journaling does help. So the next step to being true to yourself. So now you know who you are. Now you have to love who you are. And that is something that's even harder. Because, okay, let's be real. We all have things that we'd want to change about ourselves. We all have things about us that we don't necessarily like or that we're insecure about, and that's something that hopefully will go away, but it's really prominent in high school, and I think it's kind of naive to say like you're never going to have insecurities because we all do. And they can be something little, they can be something big. Everybody has some sort of insecurity, and some days are better than others. You can wake up in the mirror one day and be like, oh, like, I look cute, like, okay, period. Like, the next day you could be like, oh my gosh, what is that monster? Why does my hair look like that? So I just really think that with that, it's a lot of give and take. So when you do start feeling insecure, you should give yourself grace. But for the most part, we should always strive to feel more confident than insecure. And we should really practice self-love. And something that really helped me, because I used to be very insecure about myself, but I would pick something that I liked about myself, whether that was my intelligence or my eyes or my smile, I don't know. I would say, like, to myself, like, okay, maybe you're feeling a little bit insecure about this one thing, but you have really nice eyes, or you are a really compassionate person, or you're a good friend. It doesn't have to be something physical, because a lot of the times that's where our insecurities really stem from. But when you love yourself, you love all of yourself. That includes your body, that includes your mind, that includes your soul. So loving yourself isn't only looking in the mirror and saying like, oh, I ate this outfit up. Like, it's loving who you are as a person. And I think that once you love who you are as a person, it does become easier to love who you are on the outside as well as the inside. But I think in order to be our true selves, we need to feel confident in being ourselves, and that comes from self-love. That comes from loving yourself, and that comes from loving yourself on a really deep level. It means not only loving how you look on the outside, but also how you look on the inside and how you handle situations, how you treat other people. And it's kind of a collective of you, a collective of who you are as a person, and accepting yourself because of it. And we all have monsters. We all have parts of ourselves that we really don't want other people to see, like crash out. Like we all have ugly parts of ourselves. And I think loving yourself is not only embracing all of the good things about you, but it's also embracing the bad things. And being okay also in the decisions you make for yourself. There's just so much that goes into loving yourself. And also being able to be your true self, which everyone says. Again, I can't stop saying this, but like everyone says be true to yourself, blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, I'm trying, but it is extremely hard because you don't want to be rejected for being yourself. I find myself oftentimes really mirroring other people and trying to become the person that they want me to be. And I feel like that's a very common problem. But I find that when I am truly myself, that's when I am able to make genuine connections. That's when I really am able to form friendships and form relationships. So I think that's something just to keep in mind as well. Because when you mirror someone, you get them to like you, sure. You get them to be a good acquaintance, but you don't really know them deeper than the surface level. And I think that's something that's really important to understand. And I think that when you are yourself, you're able to form deeper connections with someone because you can both talk and both express your ideas. If you're mimicking someone, you have only their ideas. Like you're just trying to be the person they want you to be, and that's not who you are. I really think that there is so much value in being true to yourself, but it is something that is really hard because you have to have the confidence in yourself to be able to be who you are. And I think a lot of that comes from accepting who you are and loving yourself despite all of your flaws and sometimes embracing those flaws. And I also think that this really comes up when people have passions. I think that when you have a certain passion, people oftentimes really look down on you for it and find you weird because of it. That really makes me mad. I'm not gonna lie. That really makes me mad because the people who are making fun of you because you can't go out because you have a game the next morning, the people who are like, I don't know how else to describe it, like the people who are like, oh, that's so weird, she likes to draw, or something like that. Oh, that's so weird, she has this interest. Those are the people who don't have interests. Sorry, that was a little aggressive. Those are the people who don't have interests. Those are the people who have a lapse in judgment, have a skewed perspective. Those are the people who aren't goal-oriented. So I guess I understand to a certain extent, like, oh yeah, I guess it is strange to them to want to work for something and want something so incredibly bad because they don't know what that's like. But when you're passionate about something, when you're really driven about something, the people who try to tear you down are not on the same level as you. And it's really important to try to remember that, because when people do try to tear you down for liking a certain thing or for working hard, because again, I think I said this in a previous episode, but we live in such a nonchalant society. We live in a society that doesn't value tryhards or finds it weird to express how you're feeling. But I am a very chalant person. I have a podcast. I have to be chalant. This is quite literally my job. So I say to hell with nonchalantness because it doesn't get you anywhere. It really doesn't. Having a passion and working hard and being driven and being yourself gets you somewhere. Because I guarantee you, people are going to love you more if you're going to be yourself. And if we're looking at it on both sides, sure, people might dislike you more if you're yourself and you just don't get along with that person. Like, that's fine. But at least you're being yourself, and at least you know, okay, me and this person are not compatible because they don't like the real me. And why would you waste time on someone who doesn't like the real you and only likes the reflection that you're putting on yourself of them? So that was kind of a bunch of words that I just said that I hope make sense, but I really do think that when we are true to ourselves and we are making these connections, they're so much more genuine too, because they know who you are now and they love you. And even though things aren't always going to be perfect in any relationship that you have, at least you're being yourself, and at least they know what they signed up for, you know what you signed up for. So I just think that it is really important, which is why I wanted to make this episode. And going along the lines of having a passion, I think also the connections where people are passionate about certain things are so strong because you do have that something in common. And even if you can't find people who are passionate about the same things you are right now, that's not going to be forever. You're going to go to college, you're going to major in something that you find interesting, and there's going to be other people who are also in your major who find that interesting. There's going to be people in your work who value the same things as you do, who have worked as hard as you have to get where you are. So I just think that if you feel like you can't be true to yourself because of the people that you're surrounding yourself with, try to branch out and try to find people who make you feel like you can. And again, that is so much harder to do than to say, but it is possible. And if you look hard enough, you will find the people. And if you don't find them right now, that's okay, because you will eventually. And to wrap up, I guess I'll summarize everything. I'm so sorry, this was kind of a lot. But something that's really important is staying true to yourself. And in order to stay true to yourself, you first have to find out who you are. And that becomes a lot harder when you are trying to be someone else wants you to be. Because when you do that, you lose yourself. And if you aren't able to find the people who allow you to be your true self right now, that doesn't mean that you never will, but you shouldn't lose yourself trying to be someone for someone else. And yeah, thank you for listening. I'm your host, Isabella Sanfilippo. This is the I Love You podcast. And remember, I love you.